first drill is going to be a sharp angled out wide serve on the juice side, but I'm going to switch up the actual serving position. So I'll do my normal position, which is about a foot from the center of the court. So, like so. And then the second attempt will be a little bit further to my right. So you'll see as I do the drill, it'll be two serves. One, my normal position, one a little bit more out towards my right. And I'm going to try and get a little bit more angle on that outside juice serve. So we'll see how it goes. I am using the head Metallix 2 Signum Pro Firestorm 1.3 in the mains. In the crosses, it's Isospeed V18, that 1.12 string. So I've been pretty happy with the way it performs. The length control is outstanding, and hopefully that's going to help me hit those targets there. They're not ultra sharp, they're about 1.5 feet inside the service line. So I should be able to hit the cones or even get a sharper angle than where the cones are standing at right now. But yeah, let's see how it goes. was the drill in its entirety. Didn't manage to hit the cone or the markers, unfortunately, but we did hit a few serves that actually landed before the cone, so pretty sharp angles, and a few that I hit from my out wide position, my out wide serving position. So that meant that the actual serve ended up hitting the side fence. A really effective serve. If I'm actually able to execute that in a match situation, I'd be able to pull my opponent way out of court. So that's an interesting option. That's something I need to probably add into my arsenal. But yeah, that's the drill. Not too bad. I did find it's very cold today. It's probably about 4 or 5 degrees Celsius, and you can probably hear the wind. It's pulling up the net sometimes, and messing around with the toss. But I'm not moaning just about that. It's because it's so cold, you actually get a little bit more length control, as opposed to when you're playing in hotter, humid conditions, indoor conditions. And so that does give us, like I said, more control in terms of better length. But does mean I have to effort the ball a little bit more than I would like to. I kind of just want to serve 100 serves and not really feel anything from it, just stroke the ball. But because it is so cold, I'm having to effort the ball a little bit. So it's on my mind at the moment that the Isospeed string has a lower launch angle because the dwell time's a bit shorter than the Firestorm. I think it was 35.9 milliseconds compared to Firestorm at 36.3, so a noticeable difference. Might be something to note. The next string that I use, seeing as we're going into the winter months, I might have to use a string that has a higher launch angle. So I'll still have the length control and the feel from the string, but a higher launch angle, so I don't have to effort the ball over the net as much as I am like we saw in that drill. But either way, good stuff. Let's move on to the next. Okay, in this drill, it's going to be a kick serve, but I'm going to attempt to push through the kick serve a little bit quicker than I usually would. So it'll be flatter over the net, a lower trajectory over the net, and it's basically intended as a more aggressive second serve option. So not something I think I'll be able to do consistently. I'd love to. Obviously, I'd feel like that would be great and more difficult for my opponent to set up against. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how many times or what my percentages are. If it is high enough, then obviously I'll use it in a match scenario, especially on important points, as a mix-up and as a way to surprise my opponent. The best example I've ever really seen of this is a guy who used it as a first and a second serve. If you remember Pat Rafter, he used to just blast through these kick serves, and they would kick high, but like 110, 120 miles an hour. So obviously we aren't going to get to that level, but that is the perfect kind of serve to really aim to accomplish. But yeah, we're not going to see that today. Let's see how close we can get to imitating him. So yeah, the kick serve with a flatter trajectory. Let's do it. than I thought it would be. I'm really having to effort the ball through the wind, through this cold wind. And gosh, yeah, not something I think I can do consistently. I'm definitely going to have a look at some strings that's going to give me a higher launch angle, but with the same feel and length control, so I don't lose that. I just need a little bit of help in terms of not having to effort this ball over the net as much as I am. I mean, look at all the balls in the net. And it's not like I'm trying to aim, you know, half a foot over the net. Some of them are landing halfway up the net, so that's worrying. But yeah, hopefully we can. That last serve pretty much about as good as I can hit one. So if I can do that a bit more consistently, this drill it will be considered a success. So yeah, let's get to it. twice, but I'm not too thrilled about it because of how much effort I'm having to exert to try and make this happen. It's too much. It's not something I can do consistently unless I want to burn myself out by the half-hour mark during a match. Not an option. I can maybe do it for, well, I'll just throw it in as a surprise every now and then, but definitely not a consistent second serve at the moment. My lack of height control is really an issue. I need an easier way to clear that net, or I could try and, like I said, increase the height control so I don't have to focus so much on clearing the net low and just focus on hitting my targets, just focus on getting the ball through the court a little bit quicker than I would usually hit the kick serve. We could do stuff like increase the twist weight, but I'm not going to do that with this racket. I think it might be an option really to weight it up at 3 and 9, but I don't like modifying it with weight. If I have to, I will at some point, but you know, it increases length control, decreases length control, it increases shot speed, and it kind of changes the way you have to play. So I would, I think even to change a racket or change a string, it's going to obviously alter the characteristics and you're going to have to adapt to it anyway, but hey, maybe it's something I will do. But yeah, the lack of height control with this setup is a little bit of a problem with this drill. It means I can't consistently hit those targets with the flatter kick serve without tiring myself out. That will be the drill for now. Get these balls up. Actually going to call it there. Just the 2 drills today. Conditions are horrible. I can feel a little twinge in my back. I've got a test match tomorrow with this particular setup, so I want to be in pretty good condition there so that the test is completed fairly. There's no injuries that I can blame for any poor performance. But yeah, like I said, just in conclusion, the length control, outstanding. The height control has always been, the height and line control has always been a little bit of a concern for me looking at the specifications. I've never really had an issue up until really that last drill exposed it as much as I've seen so far in my short period using this setup. There have been occasions where I thought, you know what, I don't have control of the line when I'm trying to just hit like a single cone near the sidelines or any type of line control drill. I've found myself a little bit frustrated that I can't get the grouping as close to the targets as much as I like, the landing grouping. but it hasn't been too much of an issue so far. But that particular drill in these particular conditions where it's difficult, yeah, it really does expose the lack of height control. And so, like I said, we might have to use a little bit of weight on the sides of the rackets to try and stabilize that, make it easier to hit, to control the height of the ball, so I don't have to effort the ball, and then I'll be able to play, 2 hours without having to, well, without burning myself out, because some of these matches, they can go on for a while, and I want to be in a good condition for the, I was going to say majority, but really I want to be in good condition, all of it. So yeah, we'll test it out, we'll see tomorrow, and then I'll make some plans to see if we can try and address this issue. Might be a racket change, might be a string change, it might be a modification. See how I feel. But yeah, cool.